Welcome back to the Larry Hembree pregame show. We are in our Where Are They Now segment, and tonight we're talking to a 1977 graduate who most of you will probably know who he is and not lost. It's Mike Wagoner, our current B-team coach. Coach, how are you this evening?
Oh, not too bad. Just trying to get ready for this Du Bois game.
Getting ready for the Du Bois game. Well, listen, Mike, it's been, 22 years now since you played high school basketball at Loogootee. Who were some of the guys you played with when you were in school?
If you start back when I was in the freshman level, we had, of course, the guys in my class, Dave Strange, Tim Dant, Tim Weininger, Richard Bloodsall, Dennis Birch, Paul Taylor. As we go on, I haven't even played a couple games with you, I believe. Dave Blackwell, Bill Butcher, Kenny Nigg, Mike Walls, Kenny Mattingly. We had a few of them through there, so we had some good ball players in those 4 or 5 years.
Well, as a sophomore, Mike, you got to participate on the sectional team that year, and of course, the Lions went all the way to the state, the final game of the state. What kind of experience was that for you?
That's kind of hard to explain. I think you'd have to go through it to really give a good, recreation of how it felt. It was a once in a lifetime thing. I mean, going from an undefeated season, being hated by everybody, to have everybody in 3/4 of the state rooting for you, it was really neat. If everybody could go through that, I think that'd be great. But we played well together. We all got along really well. We kind of stayed in the group, and we practiced hard every day. And I think one of the big differences between the 70s and early 80s and teams nowadays is we practice so hard, and we look forward to practice in the games, that it's just what made us intense, and that just kind of all came together when we made our run to the tournament in '75. It was just, the crowds were amazing. People were always there, and it was just one heck of a ride.
Mike, what was it like? I guess played Columbus North in the first game, and when you finally got to come out from the tunnel and out onto the floor at Market Square Arena, 17,000 people there. Do you have any idea what went through your mind at the time?
Well, I know what went through my mind when we first got there to practice. Dave Strange and I went straight up to the first row of bleachers, went all the way to the top, and sat at the very top and looked down. We thought it was a mile down there. I mean, it was just unbelievable. And practicing in there and getting used to the background and the sound and all that, and then coming out for the games, it was quite a large experience. I mean, you have 17,000 people cheering, and we had a very, very good contingent that day. I remember that. But knowing we had to play Columbus North, and they had 2 guys 6'7", 2 guys 6'6", and in the back of your mind thinking, how are we going to beat these guys? And come to find out, we had one of the best winning margins in state history at that point, and then play so well against them, and then come out and get to the final game was beyond our wildest dreams. I think getting to that point was like, this is gravy now. We win or lose, this is it. But we didn't want to lose, that's for sure. But getting to the final game, I think, was really an accomplishment for a team the size of Loogootee. Kind of brings back memories of Milan. But we got there. We even had a lead for a quarter and a half, and we were in the game up until the end. We missed a couple of easy shots toward the end that could have brought us back closer. But it was something. It was something that every athlete dreams of going through in Indiana.
There's no doubt about that. And, of course, in '77, another senior who was on our show earlier this year was Dave Strange, that you played basketball with. One of the more memorable games we had that year was against Southridge in the final game of the season.
Well, we up to that point, I think we had one loss, and Southridge came in with one loss, or maybe undefeated, I can't remember, but they were really, really good. They were ranked high, and it was a game where toward the end of the season, you have a hard run there, and I think Coach Butcher even made the statement before the game, guys, this game's meaningless. We're going to play it to get ready for the sectional. Let's just go out and relax, have some fun. And he really didn't do a whole lot of coaching. But we took it upon ourselves, and you were there, and you know how it went. You played with us. You started with us. We just played well that night. Everything we did clicked. We ran our offense. We knew what to do when it got down to the last seconds, and we ended up beating them by a pretty good margin.
Well, I'm sorry for that pause there, Mike. But anyway, I want to finish up on that, though. I want to tell my version of what I thought happened there. In the locker room, Coach Butcher, as I recall, now he claims he didn't really say this, but I think he did. He walked in and said, it's been a great season, and that was the first year he let our hair grow a little bit longer.
Oh yeah,
and
we got pictures to prove that.
We got pictures to prove that, and we've shown that to some of the team this year. And the second was that he the night before game, we had a curfew of 9 o'clock, and he graciously extended that to 9:30. That was the first year we done that. But he come into the locker room and he said, "Guys, it's been a good season. The game's meaningless, and I'm not really going to coach tonight. I want you to go out and have fun." And as he started to walk out, he turned around and he goes, "But if I was going to give you some advice, I'd kind of, be patient with this team." And I always remember, I guess, maybe some earlier glimpses of that coaching may be in your future. You said, "Heck with that, guys. We're going to run the ball." And you kind of took over and coached us that night. And as I recall, we pretty much blew him out of the gym. Is that what happened?
Yeah, I remember. I don't know exactly what I said, but I do remember thinking, we're not going to hold the ball tonight, that's for sure. But, we came out and ran our offense and got some quick layups, got some fast breaks, ran up and down the floor. And that was the most fun game I think I ever played in, as far as just, being a player and being out on the floor and feeling relaxed. And, it was a neat game. And I do remember we shot a phenomenal percent that night. And I do remember the crowd, and I remember how into it Southridge was, and we kind of put them to sleep pretty early.
Right, and of course they didn't schedule us after that.
That's right. They thought that we maybe kind of had an edge there or something.
I don't know why people think they get homered when they come to Loogootee.
I don't either. It seems like we do that. We go away too. So.
Well, Mike, again, as far as I was concerned, that was a couple of things about your class of '77 that I admired. There was 8 seniors in that class, and those guys that were in that class on the practice team, the JV team, and in practice, they were the toughest competitors I've ever seen in a practice situation.
Well,
a particular group of guys.
Yeah, you're right. I use that as an example quite a bit to some of our players. We had 8 seniors on a varsity, which is kind of unheard of at this day and age. And there was a reason we had 8 seniors. They really loved to play, and in practice, it was almost like a game situation every day. I mean, you went through it. You had guys like Tim Danton, Blaine Dust, and Tim Weiniger, and Richard Bloodsaw, and Paul Taylor, and Dennis Birch, just in your shirt, playing tough defense. You can't do this, you can't do that. And that's what made us so tough, I think. I remember that distinctly when we'd walk out on the floor and Dant would guard me, and I would say, somebody else take the ball because I don't want to play now because he's going to guard me too close. But they gave us a real tough practice, and I remember distinctly in game situations, Tim Dant would come in almost every situation, give us a big boost off the defensive end, get a steal, and get a quick pass, and harass the guy so bad that he wanted to pass it off and get rid of it. And Paul Taylor gave us great moments, and
right.
Dennis Birch even came in. But even guys like Tim Dant and Tim Weiniger and Blaine Dust, they didn't care whether they played in the game or not. They wanted to be a part of the team, and their biggest service to us was making practice tough, and that's something that you really don't see quite a lot these days.
No, and that was very impressive, very admirable. But now after you graduated, Mike, 1978-79 season, you went to Danville, Virginia to play college at Averett, and 4 years there. What was that like for you?
Well, that was great, but actually at first I went to Indiana State, and that was in Larry Bird, I think it was a sophomore, and I tried to walk on and got to the last day and got through that, and you had high hopes, but then I got called in the office, and of course the old saying, we just think we need somebody a little taller, which I've heard that all my life. But went there for a semester. Then I kind of talked to you one day. I think it was at Maida's Pizza, and you told me that Coach Sanafar, who used to coach at Pike Central, was out in Virginia. So I thought I'd give him a call, and he never really promised me anything. He said, "I'll give you a uniform," which is all I wanted to hear. So went out to Danville, and you and I went out there and waited my time. I think you got hurt. You were starting and playing very well and got hurt. Then I came in and played a little bit, and then
and I never got to play again.
Well, yeah. No, I just think we both shared some time there before Christmas break, and you decided to transfer IU Southeast, and I stayed and ended up at one point in my career I was the leading scorer.
That's still amazing to me, and I use that as a motivational thing to a lot of people I've talked to in my career. Is that Mike Wagoner, 5'8", maybe 9. From Loogootee High School, stretching it, goes to Averett College and becomes their all-time leading scorer. Now, if there's not, when you look at everybody else who uses their size as an excuse or their it's really a game of determination and dreams and hard work, and it paid off for you. And I know you're still close to the college. You still go back for events and those kinds of things.
I wanted two things to get out of college. First, I wanted to go play and get that experience. And second, I wanted to get an education. And then, I wasn't given a scholarship, but there were ways to get around it. And when I hear people say, "Well, I don't have any money, I can't go to school," it kind of upsets me because I did it, and my parents by no means in stretch of imagination were wealthy, but you know, we made it, and I found a way to get money and go to school, and if I can do it, anybody can do it. But you know, it was a great experience going out there. I'd do it again if I had a chance, and you know, getting away, I think, and then seeing the world. I got to go to Alaska, of all places, and play basketball in Florida and in New York City. So it was quite an experience, and you know, I would highly recommend it to anybody. But the one thing I did get out of it was an education, and now I'm doing exactly what I wanted to do when I set forth to do this. I'm teaching and I'm coaching at a school that I really like being at.
Well, Mike, and speaking to that, since you got out of college, why don't you tell us about your family and what we all know you coach, but maybe some people listening tonight really don't know what's going on.
I came out and I started coaching basketball before I started teaching. I was coaching in 7th and 8th grade level in '84, and then in '86 I married my current wife, Marcia McAtee. She's the daughter of John and Ann McAtee. We have 4 kids, 3 girls and a boy. Whitney, William, let me get this right now, Winter and Whaley. Sometimes I have trouble with all the names. But we've been lifelong residents of Loogootee, and we like it here, and this is where we're going to live. And I just like the atmosphere. I used to hear people when I was in school and college say, well, why do you want to go back to that hick town? And I said, well, you just got to kind of experience it to understand it. Sports has been in my blood all my life. I can't remember a time when I wasn't playing basketball or baseball or something like that, even pick up football games. But when you play sports all your life and that's what your life centers around, and you just don't get rid of it. I mean, even now, old guys like you and I are playing in an old basketball league, so it's in the blood, and it's something you want to do. And like I said, my family understands for the most part that that's my job, and they back me up for the most part, about 100%.
Well, I want everybody to know, Mike, that we're both old, but you're still a year older than I am, right?
I still got one up on you.
Hey, listen, Mike, we're about out of time.
Okay.
I do want to thank you very much for coming on tonight and wish you the best of luck this year. And I also want to mention you are a Loogootee High School baseball coach, and anytime come out and support our baseball program. You've been around that a long time as well.
I appreciate it. We're going to make some new additions to the field and some improvements, and we've got a lot of young talent coming up, so it'll be pretty exciting to watch that team and just get out and support the student athletes, actually, because that's what it's there for. That's why I coach. I don't coach to get victories, although it's nice, but I do it for the kids because I went through the experience of playing, and I had probably I would recommend it to anybody. Playing sports at Loogootee is phenomenal, and it's something that every kid should try to at least attempt.
Well, Coach, good luck tonight, and I'll see you soon.
Okay, Larry, thank you.
You're welcome.
See you.